What's up, everybody, and welcome to yet another video. Well then, I've got something for you, my dear friend, something interesting once again. Please look at the screen, and that which you can see is the latest wave of the Mythic Legions action figures as announced in 2024, November 2024, at LegionsCon in the United States of America. Now, European law, what are you talking about? If you have never heard of these toys, well, you are in for a treat, my dear friends. But I think that at this point, I think that if you are into collecting toys, you must have heard about Mythic Legions. And definitely, if you've been following my channel for quite some time, you know that it's the way to go for me. I'm a ferocious collector of pop culture memorabilia and of action figures, and especially then of the fantasy genre. And I always say these are toys of a very high quality that beat your everyday Hasbro, McFarlane, Super 7, so on and so forth. And they are very well known. They are made by the manufacturer, the Four Horsemen Toy Design, an American company who is still considered to be an independent toy maker, but that only makes them better, doesn't it? Uh, they are able to focus on the production of toys that are of a very, very high quality in comparison with those that I mentioned, and many, many more. Now, they came up with the line Mythic Legions about 10 years ago. They celebrated their 10 years anniversary last year, if I'm not wrong. I already made a video about their book called Mythic Legions, the first 10 years, in which they trace the history of the toys and of their line. And those toys are specific and special in many ways. Firstly, um, they design their own toys. Obviously, they make their own characters. Those toys, they do not adapt anything. They don't come from a book, a film, a video game, or a comic book. But they do write bios. They do write little stories, short stories about those characters. And currently, they are working on a law book that shall be coming out within the space of 1 year, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Now, they are also special in that they are produced, or they are designed to be popped apart. They are designed to be disassembled and then put back together, so you can customize them, so you can pop and swap parts. It's just a ton of fun with these toys. And as I always say, one of the greatest attractions, or why those toys are attractive to me, is precisely that aspect, the fact that it doesn't really adapt anything. They are very, very well made and designed fantasy toys, which then support and help creativity. It boosts creativity. You can take a knight character of theirs and make it whatever you want. And so this is the latest wave, the latest line that they came up with. They announced it at LegionsCon, which is their own convention that they throw every year in the USA. And shall we take a look at those toys one after another, very, very quickly. Um, this is one of their deluxe action figures, this lion guy called Leodicius. And when I said that they are writing bios and little stories in those bios, this is precisely like a textbook example of a character that is very important for their lore that they have established in their bios and in their posts. And that character will have a very important role, I believe, when finally the book comes out, because this is one of their basically gods, or demigods, if I remember correctly. It's so their world is divided into like the bad guys and the good guys, obviously, and there are four main factions of the good guys and four main factions of the bad guys, and each and every single faction has like a leader, right? And the leaders of the bad guys have already come out, most of them. The last one, the Necronominus, like a death Grim Reaper character, will be coming out soon. It's actually on water to their warehouses from China right now. But this is a leader of a good faction. the army of Laodiceus. See, battle god. So he's like a giant lion. So most of their good guys, like leaders or like the demigods, are like anthropomorphized animal characters, and this is just a gigantic, ginormous, bloody lion. So it's like a huge lion character in golden armor with soft goods, cape, and a skirt. What I appreciate is that they realize something about sculpt and something about like the visuals of a statue or an action figure, and that is that instead of making the lion have like open and clean and to close like mouth to be articulated, they actually like created three different faceplates, so you can swap them up, under his mane and his like helmet thing. Because if you just made the mouth, open and close, it doesn't take into consideration the other like facial changes that happen when you articulate your mouth, and or when lion screams or snarls. The eyes change, the snout hair changes, right? So I mean, all the I mean, when you're articulating, speaking, screaming, shouting, your entire face interacts. So if you just did that, it doesn't bring the toy to life as well as if you just made three special faceplates. This is what I appreciate. This battle hammer, I think is like that big. So this is an oversized deluxe figure. These toys are right now for pre-order at major retailers and Big Bad Toy Store. The Four Horsemen, they always have like their own pre-order, which runs for a month or two at their own website. I am shilling this wave a little bit late, so it's not available to pre-order on their site anymore, but you can definitely get it like at all the internet retailers. This is a Janam, an evil genie or Ifrit. They are already made like a blue good guy genie, which I have in my collection. But what is specific about this one, and very special once again, is again the possibility of displaying this particular character in many different ways. So first they showed this picture, which is once again an oversized figure. In this time it's what they call brute scale, which is a little bit bigger than their like regular scale figure, but not as big as like the ogre scaled figure, which the lion was. It's somewhere in between. Once again, if you look at all the details and the sculpt and that bloody fiery cloud, the vortex inferno that he is like coming up from, and it's of course then it also comes with regular legs, because if it only came with this, you'd be like, all right, so it's a nice display piece, and I'd be content with it, I'd be fine. But there are people who like want to pose around their figures and like make action scenes and photos with them, and you wouldn't be able to do as much with only this as opposed to with it, if it came out with this and also with regular legs, which I appreciate very much. And once again, that means it's a very clever like business move, because now you say, right, so I love this figure so much, but I don't know how to display it with the legs or with a fiery vortex. I'll buy two, right? So, um, and the fiery sword. Look at that. So, as I said, I mean, look at that bloody head sculpt. This demon head with the horns. I just love these things. So once again, these are toys that, if you look at them, it's like nothing you see on the market as far as action figures go right now. This is another of the like faction leader god character. It's called Basilia. It's like a snake woman, race Kotal, and the faction is the Convocation of Basilia. So this is a second of their good guys faction. Um, and I appreciate the fact that for each and every single faction or a character, they always like, no, not always, but in many cases, they take inspiration from like real life primary world history. So there was a wave last year or 2 years ago announced, which is like from a huge part based on like the Norsemen and the Old Norse and Germanic people. There's like a barbarian, but there's like a guy who is basically an old Germanic warrior with enough swappable parts so you can make him into a fantasy looking barbarian. And that's one of the figures that I'm looking forward to the most. Like Jesus. And I'll get to another one very in like a couple of minutes. But also they made, and this is the wave in which the Grim Reaper character comes out as well. The Necronominous wave, which comes out in like a month or two, and it contains a lot of Knights and Templars. Once again, based on true history. I can't wait for these toys. It's mental. So this one is like a snake woman, extremely detailed. Like there's a lot of like Aztec, Native American inspiration there. Look at the colorful wings. But what I also love with my action figures is when it's something that you've never seen before in action figure form, or you might have seen something like that. I'm not saying that the Four Horsemen are inventing characters like that. Of course, it's all being inspired by something, but they are taking it to the next level. So these toys are really much better than anything you can find, right? And I always love my action figure is like colorful, when it draws your eye, it draws your attention, right? Because everybody can have like 20 Darth Vaders on their shelf, and at this point of time, it like yeah, it's fine, but it's like everybody has Darth Vader in their collection, right? Or everybody can have a Darth Vader in your collection, and at this point of time, it really isn't anything special. These toys, gee, man, come on. So this is Basilia. Uh, I'm going to show you the history-based character next. Now, they always put like a little secondary world fantasy tweak to it. They are not making like historically accurate figures or characters. There are other companies for that, but they very often take inspiration. So this is a figure that obviously takes inspiration from a Roman legionnaire, and once again, this is probably look at that. All the accessories, that shield and that head sculpt, these are the huge sellers of this figure for me. And I think that if I'm going to army build a character or get like a multiple of this figure, and not two, I mean like three, four, or five, is going to be this one. Obviously, they put some like tweak and twig to it a little bit, their own take, but look at that. And it comes with a head sculpt, an unhelmeted one, but it also comes with a helmet, which then you can swap for the face or mask that looks like a lion face. So this character is, of course, from the faction of the army of Leodicius, a guy who's like god is the lion guy that we looked at previously. So they are building their own world, divided into factions, filled with stories and adventures, but they are doing it through toys. And that's like the old style of like doing these things. Like if you look at Transformers, if you look at G.I. Joe, if you look at He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, like all those things started up as toys, and then even then, or Teenage Mutant. No, sorry, that was comic book first. No, I didn't want to say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but there was another one that I am blanking on now. It was Transformers TMNT, not TMNT. Transformers, G.I. Joe, He-Man. I wanted to mention one more. I'm blanking. You can come up with a million other examples in the comments down below. Please do tell me in the comments down below. So another one that we should look at is Raya the Talon Bearer, a faction secret of Arisius, which I think is a newer faction that they came up with. They also have like two in between factions that are like filled with like rogue guys that don't really fit anywhere, and this is like a dragon priestess. And it's the attractivity of this little um, little familiar, little dragon familiar. I think it will be a huge seller of this figure. By the way, they also came up with a 12-inch, like 3-4 feet long, high, bloody dragon that will be in scale to these toys. It'll be like bloody 2 meters long or whatever, and it'll go for pre-order sometime around March, and we will all lose our money. Yeah, this chick looks good. And the last one no, another one is this guy, the snake guy, which is like a guardian of the snake goddess. Once again, look at all these accessories that you can get with these toys, like s- the colors and all the options that you can have. Now, I've never been like too much into like reptilian guys, which I mentioned in my Savage Crucible video about Elric of Malibone. But that doesn't mean that these are not great for expanding your fantasy collection. If something is not your favorite, it doesn't mean that you have to refuse to have one in your collection. This is definitely. They also came up with like a legged snake guy recently at one of their cons, which they like put together from the parts they already had produced. But this is like a completely new sculpt, and I can't wait to have it. Like having this next to Basilia, once again, it makes your fantasy collection more diverse. Because I mean, you think about like generic, your everyday like fantasy sword and sorcery, and you have wizards and knights and elves and dwarves, halflings maybe, goblins and skeletons and things like that. But it's always like the four horsemen are always able to like put a little bit of spice to it. Take something that was already there a long time ago, but maybe hasn't been paid attention to in a long time, or has been like under rated. And now we've got the cackler, which is the last one we're going to look at today. Munjadi the cackler, a hyena wolf, a were hyena, sorry, were hyena, which is a race of a character that many of us are very well acquainted with already. But all the same, this figure, wow. Can you imagine how good it'll look like next to like werewolf figures, or just just next to like a generic bloody fantasy collection? So this is a wave that I'm definitely looking forward to. It's a very, very, very diverse cast of characters. You can't see like toys like this on the market today. There are similar ones, there are excellent ones, but a collection, like a group of characters of quality figures looking like that in one wave of action figures is just, once again, I mean, the Four Horsemen are always taking things to the next level. They always want to do something special, something that you might have seen before, but do it in a way that it feels new and fresh, like this. Like this is a combination that you look at this, you look at the main page here, and you're just like, Jesus, this looks so colorful, man. This looks so good. So this is modern art. Action figures are modern art. So yeah, I'm definitely pre-ordering this wave. I'm gonna have multiple ones of the Golden Pride of Leandor, the Roman centurion guy, and yeah, fantastic. Right. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. And there we go. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm out of here.